Hi, today I want to talk about, for me, a much loved handheld computer from the mid-90s, the Velo 1. This was mine, I've had it since new, and in the day it was well used, but recently it's been sitting on the shelf gathering dust, so that I can get it down, dust it off, and show you some of the features. The Velo 1 was released by Philips in August 1997. One of the first Windows CE devices on the market, with Windows CE only being released in November 1996. In the US, it was released under the Philips Magnavox brand.
Velo from Philips Magnavox. Windows, email, internet. The power of a computer in the palm of your hand.
As Philips, the parent company, were not as well known as Magnavox, the creators of the world's first video console, the Magnavox Odyssey. The Velo 1 runs on a 36.86 MHz Philips MP3910 processor, a 32-bit MIPS based on the RISC architecture, with 4 MB of RAM and 8 MB of ROM. It has 2 expansion slots on the back for both ROM and RAM, which fit miniature cards, an ill-fated flash memory format similar to and in competition with Compact Flash, which would eventually become the winner of the battle, leaving miniature cards just a blip on computer memory history. The screen is a green backlit 5.1-inch resistive touchscreen, with a resolution of 480 by 240 pixels, and only having 2 bits per pixel, a maximum of 4 grey shades are possible. And to adjust the contrast, a wheel is situated on the side of the screen, and a backlight button on the front. Its green glow is quite usable in low light levels, but due to it being a battery drain, by default it will go off after a time of no use, which could be configured or turned off in the settings. Due to it being a resistive touchscreen, it came with a stylus, which slid in the top of the keyboard. A common fault with the stylus is actually the nib was a separate part to the rest, and over time the joint holding them would crack, meaning the end of the stylus would fall out and be lost. Which is an odd manufacturing choice, as a single injection mold would have been stronger and potentially cheaper to manufacture. On the top, there's a button for quickly taking voice memos when closed. The audio quality was never great, but could be handy for taking a reminder on the go. It features a full QWERTY keyboard, which may fetch some criticism when used today, and even at the time compared to the Scion 5, which was released the same year. But it was definitely functional and surprisingly easy to type on, despite how making it look now. For connectivity, there's an infrared port on the back, used for syncing and transferring files between devices. It has a data port on the side that's used to connect it to a dock, and the dock itself would connect to a PC via a serial RS-232 connector. The Velo just slid into the dock and could charge and sync at the same time. For handheld computers of this era, it was essential to dock, to back up and keep data in sync, as they were always seen as an accessory to a PC, rather than a computer in their own right. The standout feature of the Velo was the inclusion of a built-in 14.4 kilobits per second modem, which on some models was connected via an RSJ11 port on the side of the screen, while others required a telephone connectivity kit, which was generally bundled for free. I believe the difference may have been for geographic reasons and the standards at the time. This offered a low-power alternative to the PC card-based modems which most counterparts relied on at the time. In fact, out the box the Velo 1 doesn't support PC cards, but an optional extra, the V module, could provide support. It has a thin design and can neatly and securely clip onto the bottom of the Velo. This gave it the ability to use Type 2 PC cards. And according to the adverts, would allow expansions to new technologies not even invented yet. And conveniently, you could still use the dock by removing a plastic spacer. It runs on 2 AA batteries and was often bundled with an official rechargeable one. It also has a CR2032 backup battery, as if the power were to fail, the memory would be lost. Windows CE 1.0 was a notoriously bad operating system, and often considered a public beta to get devices to the market. So an operating system upgrade was available by adding a ROM of Windows CE 2.0. This was a substantial change to the underlying codebase, which resulted in performance and battery improvements. You could even now increase the bit depth of the grayscale to 16 shades from 4. Along with enhancements such as bringing TrueType fonts, the Pocket Office suite, which consisted of Word and Excel, now came with Pocket PowerPoint, which with the help of a VGA PC card and the V module, would allow viewing on the big screen. A cascading start menu brought it closer in appearance to Windows 95, which was the whole selling point of Windows CE. There was no need to learn for a new interface. If you knew Windows 95, you knew Windows CE, albeit with 2 fonts and in grayscale. And the pinnacle of these similarities is Solitaire, Windows' most iconic game, which just celebrated its 30th anniversary, and still pulls in over 35 million players each month, which is amazing to consider it was just made by an intern in his downtime for Windows 3.0. Philips then followed the Velo 1 with its successor, the aptly named Velo 500. Released in July 1998, only 11 months after the Velo 1's release, it physically resembled the Velo 1 closely, apart from the screen size was increased and made widescreen, with a resolution of 620 pixels by 240, and as a result, a few of the buttons and connectors on the screen had to be moved. Its internals were also much improved, with the clock speed doubling to 75 MHz, and with 16 MB of ROM and RAM as standard. The clamshell form factor of the Velo range was now losing favour to the keyboardless handheld design, as popularised by Palm. So Philips stopped the development of the Velo line and made the Philips Nino, a Palm-esque device that ran Windows CE. This was before Windows had managed to develop Windows CE into the Pocket PC platform. So as a result, it didn't get much commercial success, and marked the end of Philips' handheld PC line. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and please subscribe as there's a lot more content on the way.